it's Miss B. We're making cinnamon buns today. So get ready. We're going to start the new year with something low fat. Not. All right. You're going to need the star of the show, the yeast. Okay. Without the yeast, we can't make bread. You're going to need butter. You're going to need 2 cups of flour, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and half a teaspoon of salt that's already been measured here. In this bowl, we have a cup of brown sugar, cinnamon, some regular granulated sugar, and 2 tablespoons of flour, which is the ingredient that we're going to spread on our wonderful cinnamon buns when they are ready. I cheated already, so in this here, we have half a cup of milk with half a cup of water and 2 packages of rapid yeast. Okay, now remember that yeast is a live bacteria and it needs to be activated. So I have placed the yeast in here and I placed it in the microwave like we do in class for 30 seconds. It has to be cold. So if you see, the yeast is already activated here, it's foaming. That means all the bacteria is excited in there and it's eating up the milk and going crazy, okay? And that's what you want. So now I'm going to incorporate the yeast into my flour mixture. So make sure I am going to stir this because I have the sugar and the salt and everything in here. And then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, okay? And you want to add that at the end, not at the beginning when the yeast is blooming, because if not, you're going to kill the yeast. Now remember, I always take out at least 1.5 cups of flour. I don't ever use the 2 cups or whatever the recipe might call, because if you add too much flour, then you have to start all over again. So what I do is, this recipe called for 2 cups of flour, so I actually have 1.5 cups of flour here, of which I'm going to add a little bit more flour right now because it's coming together, but it's still too sticky and I want it to form a ball. All right, because now it has to double. All right, now we have to let it. Yeast is going to activate again for the 2nd time. Keep it in a warm place. I usually put it over my oven and I cover it with a towel like this. Okay, and I'm going to put it over here over my oven that is preheated so that it rises. Ta-da! The dough has risen. Okay. So you want the dough to rise double in size, okay? I entertain myself. All right, so I sprinkled a little flour here, and then I'm going to drop it here. Put a little more flour because I'm going to roll it out. All right. And remember, if you have your hands dirty like this, take a little bit of flour. Right off. So now over here, what I have is this stick of butter that you have to let it soften. Okay, that's in there with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, okay, and the 2 tablespoons of flour that I always use, and that kind of holds everything together and it lets the butter melt slowly, okay, the flour, and then 2 tablespoons of regular granulated sugar. Okay. Okay, so then I'm going to cut the edges off. There's nothing here. Well, there's a little. And then I'm gonna evenly cut this. So I'm gonna cut it in the middle, and then I'm gonna do about half an inch. And now here, you're going to place it in a grease pan. You can use a 9.5 by 11 if you have. This is the spraying pan stuff, okay? Now it's very important, you're not gonna put them this way, because if you put it that way, everything's gonna ooze out. So you're gonna put them facing up. All right, so I'm gonna go and put them in the oven. I'm gonna let them rise for 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna put them in the oven, and then we'll be back with what deliciousness they look like. See you soon. Ooh, it's hot. The cinnamon buns are ready. Look at this goldenness of deliciousness. I put a little sugar on them before I put them in the oven. So that's the little sugar crust there. So I don't have any frosting because I'm quarantined. So I'm gonna use a little butter. They're really hot, so this delicious butter is gonna melt all over them. All right, so I'm gonna rub them down with some butter. And then, because we don't have enough sugar, they look like brains, I'm going to sprinkle some more sugar on them. Sugar, sugar, da na 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 na. I bet you guys miss me. Anyhow, so now I want them to cool down a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna flip them. Okay, so I'm gonna get a towel. Hopefully I don't burn myself here. Make sure you grab her from the bottom, and then I'm gonna flip them, and hopefully they don't make me look bad and they come out. Let me see if I can. Woo-wee! They look delicious. Delicious. Okay, so give me 1 second. Then I'm gonna flip them over again. And there you have it. Cinnamon deliciousness. Okay, enjoy. Try the recipe. I love you. Bye-bye.